Hello. Today I want to talk to you about string theory, banjo string theory in particular, although it'll apply to any fretted instrument, the string on any fretted instrument. Here's a banjo string. Well, here's a banjo. And the string I'm contemplating is the string 4 on this banjo. And when I don't do any fingering, it sounds a particular note. And if I, rather than press down on the string, I just touch the string, there are various places where a note rings out clearly. There's one there, and there are others, but the strongest one is up here. So my string theory is going to be discussing what happens between this note here and that one there. And you can hear they sound very similar, so similar that in ordinary music theory we give them the same name. This one happens to be a B, and so this one is also a B. It's the same note you get if you actually press the string down at the 12th fret. So from B to the next B, we're going. 12 steps. And in those 12 steps, we cover all the possible notes you can get by pressing down on this string between frets. Now, let's orient ourselves. For the purposes of this little bit of string theory, I'm going to call this fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, 4, 5, 6, you get it, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and, well, this one is 12, but just a second. Yeah, I start with 1 here, but that is not the first note I play on this string. The first note I play on this string is here. So I'm going to call this, otherwise known as the nut, this bit here, I'm going to call that fret 0, or fret 0 perhaps if you like, but 0. So we have fret 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I am going to call this one 0 dashed or, 0 dashed or 0 again or something. So I'll start again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, echoing 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. So because these ones repeat these ones, I'm going to confine myself to the first octave. Now, starting here, this note here is called the octave in music theory because there's 8 notes above that one. But it's not, is it? Not on a fretted instrument anyway. And we've got, in fact, 12 frets. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Back to 0, 12. And I'm asking you to remember those numbers because I'm going to use them as a code for musical notes and the relationships between them. I often need to list and think about a sequence of musical notes. If I try and think about a chord or write down a chord, if I think about a tuning for the banjo and try and write what the relationships between those notes are. If I'm writing down a melody, it's relationships between notes that count. And in all of those situations, there is a most important note. In any sequence that I'm going to be dealing with of notes, there is the most important one. In the case of a chord, it's called the root of the chord. In the case of a, oh, well, okay, for instance, G major chord, there's the root there, it's the open third string. If I'm talking about the tuning, this guitar is in G tuning, and so G is that most important note. And if I'm singing a melody, and again, there is in all the music I'm interested in, there is a home note that we return to at the end of our song. And so you can talk of that as being the tonic of the scale the song's based on. But in each case, we've got a special note. And so I'm going to call that special note 0 in my theory, in my string theory. So while I'm considering this string here, that's the note I'm interested in, and I'm interested in the relationship of all these other possible notes that I could make on that string to this original note, or perhaps, if you like, also to this copy of that original note. Those two notes sound particularly nice together, and so that one there, it's called, in normal music theory, it's called the fifth, or a perfect fifth, but I want to call it 7, because to me it makes more sense to think that starting from here, I go up 7 of these equal steps to there. So that to me is note 7. And then up here is, well, there's note 0 again, or note 12. So this is note, what, 10, 9, 8, note 7. Note 4 is here. And with that, we can now write down a formula for a major chord based on the open string. So a major chord based on that note is 0, 4, 7, and back to 0, or 0 dashed if you like. Now, if you're going to use this to write stuff down, which I do, you want to make it as simple as possible. Numbers, to me, being an ex-maths teacher, are as simple as possible. And mathematicians often like to start counting from 0 rather than 1 for their own theoretical reasons. And so that's what we're doing here. We're starting at 0, starting counting from 0, and we're going up to repeat 0. It's like a bit like a clock face. You start at 12 and go back to 12. If you replace 12 on my clock by a 0, you'd be doing exactly what we're doing here. 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And that's the major chord. Now, what about writing down a scale, a major scale? The majority of the songs I want to sing are based on a major scale. What's the major scale based on here? Everybody knows do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So to me that is 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 0, 0. Now, the little fly in that ointment is that I would like to use a single symbol for each of those notes. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 9 is fine. But 10's got 2 digits, 1, 0, and 11's got 1, 1. So for my purposes, I always call this note not 10, but T for 10. And I call this note not 11, but L for 11. Well, I know E, but I don't want to get confused with the ordinary music theory, which has a note E in there. So rather than calling that E for 11, I'm calling it L for 11. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, sorry, 9, T, L, and back to 0. Okay, I said that this banjo was in open G tuning. I think I said, it is anyway. And open G tuning, it's called G, so whereas, and that is associated with the note on the third string here, the open third string. So the G scale goes 0, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 0. And then thinking about what these notes are, if that's a G, then this next one here is the 4, because there it is, the 4, 0, 4. And this one here is the 7. So these three notes on the G major scale are 0, 4, 7. Oh, that 7 is the same as this 12 here. So that's a low 7. This is low 7, this is a high 7. And this one turns out to be a high 0. If I start with the G and go to here, I get the same note. And so I've got then a formula that allows me to write down the relationship between the strings in this open G tuning. 0, 7, 0, 4, 7. And then if I want to use that tuning, but not starting on G, but starting on some other letter of the alphabet, some other musical note, like, for instance, E, then it doesn't matter what the names are. If I tune this string to E and do 0, 4, 7 and low 7 down here, I've got that open G tuning, but in fact it's nothing like a G. And I've been lying about this banjo. It's not tuned in. It is tuned in that tuning, but the home note here is what we would normally call an E. So that's an open E tuning. So, but my point is that using that coding, I have a language for writing down sequences of notes and recognizing at a glance the relationship between them. So instead of having to say, okay, that note there is a third. What kind of a third? Is it a major third? Is it a minor third? Is it something flat, something sharp, whatever? All I have to remember is if this one is 0, this is 4 steps above. And this one is 7, which is another 3 steps above that one. And to me, anyway, that's a really nice, neat way of writing down and remembering and thinking about all the notes I need to play, not just in one key, but in all keys. So there you have it. I've probably forgotten lots of things, but I invented this scheme, I don't know, 20 years ago, give or take a decade or so, when I was still playing the ukulele. But it works, string theory works for any fretted instrument. And of course it doesn't, then you can think about playing other instruments using the same coding, a piano. The black notes, the white notes on the piano are the Oh, hang on. No. The black notes are the ones I miss out. Uh, well, you get the idea. You can apply that to any sequence of notes, no matter how you think of actually playing them, or even for that matter, singing them. So, uh, yeah, that's it for today. Not music so much, but my particular approach to music theory. Of course, it's not a very good approach if you're worried about how long those notes are. But if you're mainly concerned about the relationships between them, it works very well, for me anyway. I hope you found that a little bit interesting.